Yes, I'm going away with you. Try to love you all my mind.
I'm Erickson Blakeney with the True Delta Project. I'm with photographer Daniel Stranahan and Jimmy Duck Holmes, blues guitarist and owner of the Blue Front Cafe in Bentonia. Blue Front was started in 1948. So you're saying that the Bentonia sound is about that G. Can you explain it, or is it something that you can only just play?
Well, at times I try to explain it. You know, you got a lot of musicians, or you had a lot of musicians that did a lot with the G string, and I learned basically the guitar, especially the Bentonia style of guitar, for some guy that dealt a whole lot around the G string. And of course, it's almost the same sound when you bend the G string or when you hammer it, but those guys did a lot of sliding on it, which it takes time and time and time to perfect it. Guys like Muddy Waters, they bend it. Henry Stuckey was the founders of the Bentonia style of blues, and it was centered around a G string. They slid to it. But the founders of it, and this is what Bentonia style of blues is known for, is the way the G string is being perfected. Yes, I'd rather be the devil than to be that woman's man. Rather be the devil rather be the devil, yes, I'd rather be the devil than be that woman's man.
Who did you learn to play from, or self-taught?
Well, partially, my first introduction to a guitar by the founder or the originator or the creator of the Bentonia style of blues, which was Henry Stuckey. He was my neighbor for, I guess 4 or 5 years. And the first guitar I laid hands on belonged to him. And now the people who researched it say Henry Stuckey was the one that created the Bentonia style of blues. Of course, now, as years, that was back in 1957. But now, this guy, Jack Owens, was a disciple of Henry Stuckey, mentored him, and I learned a lot of pointers from him, but he learned what he knew about the Bentonia style of blues from Henry Stuckey. A couple of years before he passed, I guess he felt like, probably wasn't aware of it, that he wanted the legacy of that particular style of music to continue to live. And he would come every day and tell me, boy, you got to learn this. But he didn't know how to teach me because he couldn't read or write. He couldn't say I'm doing a G or open G or A minor or whatever. Music-wise, he couldn't do that. And it frustrated him. But he would come every day, and really, even though I could do a little bit with a guitar, but they'll defer something from my mind playing that type of music. And he told me, he said, boy, just watch my hand. He couldn't say I'm gonna play an open E or E minor. He said, just watch my hand. And that's all he could do.
Now, see, that's really interesting about how the way he passed on the blues tradition. How are you doing the same with other musicians or younger kids coming up?
The young people who pretty much interest in music-wise is hip-hop, R&B, because they feel like that this type of music ain't gonna get them nowhere. But then what they don't know, whatever they decide they're gonna do, they can't get around. If you play a guitar, you're gonna play some of these notes because this is the foundation of all of it. And that part they don't realize. And I tell them a lot of times, you ain't got to love it, you ain't got to but at least learn how to do it.
Let's talk about the Blue Front Cafe. Now, this was started in 1948 by your parents, Carrie and Mary Holmes,
Right.
and you were born just a year before. Why did your parents start the place?
My dad would always want to be self-employed. My mama she always just steal in us, go to school. Go to school. Regardless of what you do, go to school, because of what you're doing that didn't take a schooling to do, you could always fall back on your schooling if that didn't work out. And she was exactly right. I remember when she first turned the Blue Front over to me, I was making money head over heels, and I had. That's right.
Oh, great. Wow. The train comes through every day at this time.
All day long. No, all day long.
All day long.
Yes.
So your mother, she was saying you'll always have your education to fall back on.
Fall back on regardless of what you do in life. If you got an education, if whatever you're doing that it didn't take an education to do, if you got an education, you could always fall back on your education. These type places, some weeks or some months, make you feel like you're gonna get to be a millionaire, but then there will be other times when it business be so bad you think you're headed to the poorhouse. But she said if you had that education, you have to worry about it.
So you took it over in about 1970, right?
1970.
What keeps you opening the door every day? There's something about it that just keeps pulling you back.
Well, this place is what got me through life. Not me per se, but my mama took care of 10 of her own, and she raised 4 of her siblings out of the Blue Front. And the ones that wanted to go to school or go to college, the Blue Front sent them there. She pulled a minute, hard days and hard nights right back in that little kitchen to support the families. Moonshine, whiskey, hot dogs, hamburgers, stuff like that. My dad was real supportive of it, but this just wasn't for him.
You give your mother, Mary Holmes, a lot of credit for the Blue Front being here today.
Oh yeah. I give my mom all the credit for me being in Betonia now, because my daddy was a sharecropper, and there came a time when the guy that was what they call financing his farming, supporting his farming financially, he did what they call a foreclosure, which means we got a little home place out there, and he had demanded all of his money. We had to move. Of course, now by we having a Blue Front, my mom still had a state that she could feed us and support us. But anyway, my dad give up, gonna let him have it. And so he told my mom whatever she could do to save it. She told me, she said, well, I'm gonna talk to Attorney Jesus. She said, I'm gonna talk to Attorney Jesus. And she said she prayed about it. She said she came one Monday morning, hadn't give up. But to make a long story short, it was a white guy, it was a big grocery store right there, there was a white guy running. And she said when she came, opened her door that morning for the Blue Front, so that guy stepped out and said, Miss Holmes, I heard about your problem you having. She said he give her $600, and he already secured her a lawyer. 1965, on the land right now, not a dime on her. But my point is, my mom was a fighter.
And you said she fought for 86 years, right?
86 years.
Not sick one day.
Not sick one day.
People love to talk about your voice, they talk about your playing, but you didn't actually record a CD until what, about 2006, 2007? Your first CD?
It got released 2006. I think we did it like in September, October 2005. And some way or another, a guy in St. Louis by the name of Jeff Kunkel owns a record label called Broken Hungry. And he was in search of someone that had some familiarity with the Bentonian style of blues, or someone that knew the guy that played it. And he stumbled upon me September 2005, and here it is.
I'll be headed on down the road.
It's been said that you're a reluctant performer, like you don't like to get up on stage. Is that right?
No. I don't see the audience. My job is to do what the guy that hired me to do, to my very best. For as being reluctant, I'll play just as hard for one as I would 1,000. If you say what Jimmy or Duck, play me some Bentonian style of music, it has nothing to do with the audience. I don't entertain. Even though you might get entertained, that's what I'm doing. I don't play to entertain you. I play from my heart to tell a story with some music to it. But now if you get entertained with what I'm doing, I got no problem with that.
Jimmy Duck Holmes. Duck came from, how'd you get your nickname?
They say I used to duck and dodge work when I was a little kid around the house, like raking yards and working the yard or picking up paper. So I used to duck and dodge, to keep from doing a little everyday chore that little kids usually do, like get their paper up or come rake the leaves or come help mom in the garden. And they say they gave me a name because I used to duck and dodge.
Well, hey, but you're working hard to keep this place open, so you proved them all right.
Well, I worked hard. The most hardest thing I do is make sure the doors stay unlocked, because I know at some point in time, early today, for some tourists by early today. If you want to, my hardest part, and that's not hard, coming down here.
A lot of people are concerned about, the life of the blues, because you have a lot of this older generation, people that were there when the music was created or learned under those folks are starting to thin out. What do you think the future of the blues is?
Unless, I'm gonna boast about this, unless the people who trying to promote the blues get the same concept that I've got, it's gonna put me be a dead art other than people like you all researching on a CD or DVD, for the simple reason I play a lot of festivals, and sadly enough, it's labeled blues festival, but it's just the opposite. It's hip hop, R&B, Southern soul. Now, sometimes they might have one or two with that, what you say, like myself, a true blues act. And I think what they don't understand, quite naturally, the majority of the people down, the young people, looking for the Southern soul, R&B. That's fine. But if you're gonna say blues act, but have some blues. So why would you say blues stuff when you go there and you ain't gonna hear no blues? They know downhearted people love the blues. They don't openly say it, so they use the name blues festival to get the crowd.
Right.
But when the crowd get there, the crowd ain't got no blues.
Right. So folks won't really have an understanding of what the blues is or what the sound is like once they leave.
I have people that call me, man, you were the only blues act there. Man, we were looking for some blues, wasn't no blues there. Be honest.
Mr. Holmes, what should people know about the Blue Front Cafe?
You mean the locals or
Anybody around the world, what should people know about this place?
that is here, and it's 100% deep-rooted in blues. And when I do live entertainment, it's strictly blues. And when you never see a flyer or see an article on internet saying blues at the Blue Front, When you get here, it's just the opposite. If there's an article related to the blue front and music, it's gonna be blue.
Mr. Holmes, thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
Jimmy Duck Holmes. I'm Erickson Blakeney with the True Delta Project at the Blue Front Cafe in Bentonia, Mississippi. Sir, thank you.
They been it. They been it. But the founders of it, and this is what Bentonia style of blues is known for, is the way the G string is being perfected. Yes, I'd rather be the devil than to be that woman, man. Rather be the devil rather be the devil, yes, I'd rather be the devil than be that woman, man.